Hello. Alright, so today it's going to be a little bit of a VOD review format. So this is a game that I played offline. So I'm not sure where I left off when I was doing my stream uploads, but basically I played like 10-15 games offline, so I have a couple of these that I wanted to go over that I was just grinding and trying to learn new things. Just to keep myself getting better. Because I'm doing this in post, obviously I'm not like super focused on the game, so I can say things like make sure to like and subscribe if you do like this content. This channel. I basically post my daily. I basically make daily TFT VODs from the games that I play as I try and get to Masters and Challenger and all of that stuff. So right now I'm Diamond 3. Alright, so in this game, the main thing I want to focus on was how to deal with like the melee units, right? So what I mean by that is like the melee rerolls like Yone slash Riven, as well as like things like Viego slash Akali when there's Karthus lines, right? I've been getting kind of destroyed by this because it's kind of like how I predicted. I felt like at one point in the patch people would just devolve into just forcing Yone and Riven rerolls, and basically every game that I play there's usually at least one Yone or Riven player, sometimes more than one, and it's a very melee centered gameplay. So there's some comps that really beat melee. Some of them is like executioners, right? But I feel like this one is really picking up a lot of traction because it's very strong. And the other one is I find Lulu is really good into melee, right? So this game is going to be focused on playing Lulu. I was kind of looking for it out, so we'll talk about the game play a little bit more now, but that's basically my headspace, right? I was thinking, what can I play in this game that will help me deal with some of the melee units that I've been losing to? Because I've basically been like win lose win lose win lose, and a lot of times I'm just getting like railed by Yone, and it's like I need to figure out how to deal with this, right? So it's the galaxy, or the place that we are, is the crescendo one, which means that it's going to start with a silver, then it's going to be a gold, and then it's going to be a prismatic. So that's me just clearing out my last game. And so this game, I'm looking at my start and I'm thinking like I could maybe play Heartsteel, but I'm just going to try and save HP and make Econ. I should maybe sell some stuff on the bench here, but I don't know if I will. I probably will because I don't think I'm going to play Gragas. If I sell the Gragas, I'll commit. Or I might do one turn of not making 10. But I don't really have a strong opener. I'm not sure, like Vi is considered to be pretty good with like Mosher Vi as a frontline unit. So I maybe should have bought the Vi and just played Vi frontline and try and win a couple stages here. But I think in my head I was thinking to myself, like, I think I'm just going to try and like get Heartsteel online or something like that and make Econ instead. Doing a little bit of scouting. Looks like there's going to be one Jazz player for sure. And the other ones are just going to be like kind of vibing, right? It's unknown. It might be a Yasuo game for somebody. I think at this point I'm just trying to think like I probably want like a 2-cost chosen, or I want to just make Econ. So I think I should make Econ this round, which I think is what I planned on doing. I bought the Nami because I was thinking if I get a Disco chosen, then I would just play the 4 Disco line and win out from here. But at this point I'm just thinking to myself, okay, I'm pretty rich. My items aren't the greatest of items, right? I have tier and chain, right? If I want to be super optimal, I can put the tier on one of these and the chain on one of these, and it will save me. Maybe like some fights it might matter, but I have like a decent amount of damage. It's just like all my units are unupgraded, right? Like if I had a Cassante 2, I might like win streak. If I had a Lilia 2, I might win streak. If I had any of these 2, I might win streak. So I'm kind of going for like when you have an opener like this, I think I kind of committed to the idea when I first logged into the game that I was gonna play Reroll, because I don't think you can really how do I phrase it? You can't really like have like an open board if you're not playing Reroll. Here, there's like a Kale. I don't have the items for it, and I think this Kale unit is really underwhelming if you don't have any items. You need some sort of like AP items just so it does like a bunch of damage. Because I feel like the investment is just going to be too much. And I can kind of make Econ here. I'm kind of debating, do I buy the Kennen pair and the Aphelios pair? Or do I just buy the Kale? I think I'm just gonna buy those, and I'm just not gonna buy the kill. Yeah, I think this is what I end up doing. And I just make 10 another turn. I should be making 20 here. If I'm doing this open fort strategy, you really want to be 20 here because then you make 30, and then before carousel you're like rich. But I'm kind of like not really doing that. Anyways, pretty bad opener from me. I think this was just like at the end of a really long night, right? Because I played for like, I think I played for like 12 hours straight. I was trying to reset my sleep schedule. So I think a lot of like the early game, I was kind of just like, you know, all right, here we go. Let's lose this game. I just lost the last game, you know. It was kind of that mentality, which isn't always the greatest. Here I just go for tier. So this is what I'm doing differently. This was this is a very outdated strat, but like the strat last patch was if you're playing flex, you just grab 2 tiers and you make a blue buff. Because if you had a blue buff, you would play either Ezreal or Ahri. And then what you're usually prioritizing is red buff though, because red buff you can put on anybody. You could put red buff on Ahri, kind of like it's okay instead of Nashor's Tooth. You can put red buff on Ezreal. You can put red buff on Caitlyn. You can put red buff on, like, you know, like the whole field can take a red buff here, right? So I think it's probably better to play a Kennen 2 here if I want to save some health. So I should like upgrade the Kennen and play the Kennen, but I think I'm gonna leave in Sentinel because sometimes it's like, ooh, pretty thing on the side, but really that's like 15 armor versus like an upgraded unit. Anyway, so I'm slamming blue buff. So what I was talking about was like last patch. I think I did a couple tutorials on it when I was saying like, you know, blue buff, red buff. I definitely I definitely remember writing these. So there's a couple of videos on my channel where I did that before. I'm doing it this patch. So the reason I'm making blue buff is blue buff basically is good for still Ahri if you end up playing Ahri. It's good for there's some melee units that can use it. Like I know Zed, it's pretty good on. Which is kind of weird to say, but it's true. And then there's also what's his name? LULU is pretty good with LULU. It's like LULU's best item, I think. The other one that it's good on is Vex, right? So there's quite a few people that can still use blue buff, even though people don't prioritize it. It's actually really strong on a lot of units. I'm really debating taking this Twitch, but I think I'm just gonna make 30 here. I want to be rich because I'm low health, right? I kind of played this opener in a way that I'm saying to myself, I'm probably just gonna reroll. So, I'm basically trying to like prioritize getting item picks on carousel and sacrificing my health, basically. So it would be really dumb now to not make 30 because I should have been making 30 already, right? Like I should have been making 30 like here. And then I'd be really rich. Like you see this guy, he's kind of committing reroll, but he did the strat a lot better. Also, I bought this guy. I don't know, playing this opener really bad. So I definitely could have like sold some stuff, make 30, and then just be really rich and then commit to a reroll. The reason I bought this Twitch is because I'm thinking that maybe I just go Vex. So remember I was saying that like you don't like the main thing that you usually see is like double trouble / twin terror. Like it's the same thing. It used to be called double trouble, right? But now it's called twin terror. So this into Vex / Twitch is pretty much the strongest comp. It loses to nobody. So there's a lot of rock paper scissors this patch on like which comp loses to who and which comp is good against who, right? Like melees obviously beat like Akali Karthus a lot of the time. Akali Karthus, and they beat Disco. Disco beats like Akali Karthus and like Ahri. Ahri beats Melee. Akali Karthus beats like Disco, and like you know, like depending on how you build the comps, like there's like a rock paper scissors that kind of goes on. The one that always wins is Executioner. Like the Executioner reroll is so strong. Like if you can play 6 Executioner reroll and you 3-star a bunch of them, it's basically like it loses to nobody, right? Even like legendary boards can't beat it, right? If you have what's it called? I'll talk about the item slam in a second. If you have what's its name? Also, I got an Ahri on level 5, sick. That's the 2%er. If you know that you're going into something like melee chams, like playing like in a Karthus Kali line when like the whole team is playing like melee chams, it's really hard because you don't have that much of a front line, and like usually they just like steamroll through the front line. Akali's just like somewhere in no man's land doing nothing, and then like your Karthus just gets rushed down and dies, right? Stuff like that, right? for me at least, I prioritize getting blue buff and this because I'm thinking like what can beat the melee line, and Vex definitely beats it, right? Morello got buffed and now it gives like attack speed, and it's just really good. So like slamming a Morello is really good, and pretty much like almost everybody uses a Morello really well. You can even put on some melee units like Viego, like anybody who has spread attack, or Morello is really good because of the attack speed now. So in this case, I make Morello blue buff, and I'm thinking about playing towards Vex. I know I kind of like rambled a little bit in like a circle. I'm just trying to like give an idea of my thought process. Also, it's been a while since I did a VOD review, so I'm kind of like, you know, out of it. But anyways, so I am playing towards Vex here. So I don't take Gargantuans because I can't play towards a melee unit. I don't have a Titan Slam. I don't really care about Salvage Beam because I feel like I have items right now. I have 2 items slammed, and I have just 1 extra component. So I don't really care about reforging or remaking these. You could take it and then make like an Archangels and stuff like that. Like, it's always good to have Salvage Bin, but in this case, I feel like I don't need it, right? I leveled to 6 here because I'm 75 health, right? So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find anybody that I can put these items on, and I have a couple of things to sell on bench, right? I could sell this Ari even though I might end up playing it later. It's just it's really expensive to hold right now. And I have this upgraded and this upgraded. I'm just trying to be strong enough that I don't lose too much health, and I'm committing to a reroll, right? So if I'm this much money, I'm level 6 and I'm 20 gold, right? I rolled 2 or 3 times. I probably could have just taken the Katarina and try and tempo with the Katarina, but I felt like my items weren't good enough to put on Katarina. So here, I just end up taking the Lulu because that's good enough. Basically, in all honesty, I was looking for a frontline chosen, but Lulu's good enough because Lulu does the stun. And we'll see what happens. I think there's one guy when I scouted that was doing Executioner, so I decided that I can't really play Vex Twitch, which is why I ended up selling the Twitch in the first place. But I was probably just going to itemize the Twitch and play towards Twitch if I didn't have that option. Alright, I think I talked about everything that I needed to catch up, so now we can just focus on the game and watch the game. It's been like 15 minutes, I've been rambling. Anyway, so all these items are good on Lulu as well. Blue buff is like Lulu's best item, I think, and Morello is also really good on Lulu. Lulu's also really good into a lot of the field in this particular match, right? So like, for example, this guy, he looks like he's just playing like Heartsteel 80 flex because he slammed a red buff. So that's fine. I'm not too concerned about that. And then I think there was a Yone player. There's a Yone player, there's a Riven player for sure. I remember seeing it. Or somebody hedging towards that. And then there is a an MF board as well, I believe. Or a Jazz board. And the other ones I think are still flex. Anyway, so I'm making 30 here, so it's not that bad. I like slight rolling earlier. Like, I lost this match, which maybe is bad. But you have to understand that, like, rolling earlier, it saves me a lot of HP this stage, which I think will help me a lot later on, after. It kind of sucks now because, like, I sold the Ari, and now there's a new Ari in shop. I'm probably going to take the Ari anyways, because I probably want, like, a frontline item or something else. Like, I don't really need a rod. I don't really need a bow. Like, a bow is probably good, but this at least makes, like, a gargoyle. And if you're playing towards, like, Ari, Lulu, a lot of times you just like 3-star one of the frontline units, and then a gargoyle is really good because you have like the Giga Tank. So that's like the rough idea behind it. And if not, I'm gonna use the cape to make a what's it called? To make the Spark, Ionic Spark. So Spark causes Shred, which makes you do more damage with your stuff. Like, with Shred, you can either make a Shiv with Shred, or you can make a Spark with Shred, and both are really good. So, I didn't talk about it, but one of the most broken things in the game, I don't think I had it last fight. Yeah, I had it just this fight. So, this Randuin's. So, basically, the first augment I took was the Silver Augment, which was, like, the support item one, which is why I was kind of, like, you know, mentally checked out. Like, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go for like a reroll and something later, because the first couple stages I was basically playing without an augment, right? The way this support works is it gives you a target dummy with a random support item on it after like 7 player combats or something. So I just got into Randuin's. I don't know how I feel about Randuin. Sometimes it's like the greatest thing ever and it like ties your whole team together because it just like giga buffs everybody, excuse me. And then other times, it's like the most dog shit thing ever. It's like, I really don't need this shit, right? Anyways, I found a Blitzcrank. I'll probably buy it anyways. Yeah, I'm not making 50 here, but a lot of like the reason I'm not making 50 is because I wasn't making 30 earlier, right? Like back before when I was saying I should sell some of these units and play it. Oh, there's an Olaf reroller. That was the other melee. There's an Olaf reroller, there's a Yone player, there's a Riven player. So that's 3 melee frontliners. There is a Executioner, so I can't play Executioner, so I'm not playing towards Vex. And there is I think there was the Jazz board, but he pivoted. No, the Jazz board is right here. Okay, this is the Jazz board, which I don't know. This guy doesn't look that strong for playing Jazz, but I thought this guy was gonna pivot off of Jazz because he got Idealism. So I thought he was gonna be also a melee unit. So we just counted how many melees is that? It's like 3 for sure, maybe 4, which is like half the lobby. So you can't really play towards like anything else. I made blue buff, which isn't good on Karthus anyways, so I'm not playing anything like that. I could just play an Ari board, but the problem is because I kind of like rolled a little bit on 6, I'm definitely too broke to go for like an Ari board. So I'm either going to play Seraphine reroll or Lulu reroll, and I already have the Lulu chosen, so I'm just going to play Lulu. I've never played Lulu a reroll before, so this is my first time playing it. The Randuin's helps a lot, but it makes it a bit weird. So basically it's like diminishing return. So Randuin's basically what it does is everybody touching the dummy, everybody adjacent to the dummy gets 30 armor. And then usually when I play these lines, I thought you're supposed to make a Sentinel front line. I know you're supposed to play like 5 Spellweaver, 5 KDA. You try and build up to that. But a lot of times I thought you just played like the similar like Ari Sentinel, but with like a Lulu itemized instead of the Ari. I haven't played it before, but with this setup, I know for sure it's not for Sentinel. And I kind of know that ahead of time. The reason it's not for Sentinel is because it's diminishing returns, right? So Sentinel gives all the units armor, and for Sentinel isn't that much, and I need to make sure that I have like the AP, because my Lulu has to be like either one-shotting or chain casting, and my Ari has to be one-shotting or chain casting. So I really want like the KDA and Spellweaver to stack on both those units, because that's how you kind of beat the melee comps, right? Ari's really good into melee because like the melee kind of tries to dive the back line, and then if they don't have like an Edge of Night, the Ari just procs and just focus fires and just kills them before they can do enough damage to sustain themselves, right? Melee units, a lot of the way they work is like they're not super tanky in stats, right? Like aside from like an Olaf, like that's like the Bruiser build where they have a bunch of HP. If you look at Yone itself doesn't have a lot of HP. What he has is a shit ton of damage and Omnivam. So he just keeps on doing damage and then Omnivams. And basically what happens with this is Lulu will stun the Yone, so she'll like turn him into like the little whatever the fuck she turns them into, and then Ari will focus fire, and Lulu will also focus fire. So if they try and dive the backline, a lot of times you just lose all your damage and they die instantly. So it was Crescendo, so the last augment is Prismatic. Also, this video feels like an ass joke. I don't even remember what I was talking about like 2 minutes ago. But there's just so much that I wanted to talk about because, like, I don't know, I haven't done a VOD review in a while, and there's so much that I learned in this one game when I was playing it. And also, I made a lot of mistakes as well. I take Unleashed Arcana here. I wanted a combat augment, but Unleashed Arcana is almost as good as a combat augment for my comp, right? The reason it's so good is because I have 2 items on Lulu already, but I'm probably going to dual carry with Ari, as I've been explaining, with the way that I'm trying to lead towards this comp. So having the extra items and the rod, basically now I'm like, I don't have a mana item on Ari, but that's like easy to prioritize, right? I just need to find like 1 tier throughout the rest of the game, right? But basically it allows me to fully itemize both of them, right? And it's really hard like to like itemize both of them in this. It's very hard to itemize 2 carries when they both use the same type of items, because basically I'm hoping that I high roll a bunch of tiers and rods in order to make all those items. Like, how else would I make a dual gauntlet of Rabadons, a Morello, a Gunblade? Like, this is like, it's like 7 rods. Like, I don't know how many rods that is, but it's a lot, right? It's really hard to like natural all of those in order to make that comp viable. A lot of times when you're setting up a dual carry, that's why you have something like Karthus Akali, because all of your AP items, like your swords, your Bloodthirsters, your IEs, they can go on Akali, and then all your AP items, like your rods, your tiers, your Rabadons, your Archangels, those can go on the Karthus. So no matter what items you get dropped, you can itemize one of them. But in this case, that's why this Prismatic is really good here. If you're playing something like Karthus Akali, you wouldn't take it because you know, you're not just gonna slam those on Karthus, because then if you end up getting dropped a couple more rods and stuff, then you're fucked. You have no Akali items, right? So it's usually very situational. Anyways, I leveled a 7 here on 4-2, and I'm slight rolling to try and get some upgrades. I'm playing the Sentinel front line, but as you can see, I'm holding this Yorick and I'm holding this Nico, because eventually I'm going to swap in the Nico and I'm going to try and play for 5 KDA, right? So in this case, I have 3 KDA, 5 Spellweaver, 4 Sentinel. It's pretty good, like it's alright, but I think you want the extra KDA rather than the extra Sentinel, especially since I have Randuins. So the Sentinel basically just gives extra armor, but I have Randuins already, so it's a bit of diminishing returns. But I think this is how I thought I was supposed to play it, like normally, but I want to pivot off of this because I want to play with less Spellweaver, basically. This guy took Egg, which is crazy to me, because I never see Egg being the right choice, and obviously because I'm doing reroll, I steamroll him. Also, I should do another scout check to see how many other people are playing reroll, but, you know, it's okay. But anyways, this is usually what the board looks like, I think. You can play it without the Sentinel and then just stack KDA, and you can play like Superfan instead. So Superfan, what you do is you play Kennen plus what's her name, Nico. So you play Kennen and Nico over 2 of the Sentinels, and then what that gives you true damage, and it gives you Superfan, and it gives you 4 KDA. So usually you're going for like a plus KDA on the one of the other dudes, or you level to 8 and then you play 1 more KDA, and then you have your 5th KDA. In this case, I'm just gonna play Nico and another KDA if I have the chance to, or I'm gonna play what's it called? Or I'm just gonna level and then play that board, right? So I'm slight rolling here. I'm rolling to around 30 because I basically want to like try and hit Lulu 3, and in this case, I'm probably going to play Nico 3, so I'm kind of debating it right now, because the problem is, like, Yorick isn't that good of a frontline if he's just 1-star. Like, he's really good as a unit, but it's really hard to, like, frontline him. A lot of times you want him to be more, like, melee carry items, and he does a lot of damage, and that's how he shines, and then he summons the ghouls once he, like, does a bunch of damage, and he can proc it. Anyways, here we can see the Lulu in action. So look, this is a Karthus board, but check this out. So Lulu like snipes the Karthus, which is great. And then watch, like this Olaf's gonna try and do shit, but basically with like through the stuns and the focus fire, I basically beat the Olaf reroller, which is really big. Okay, so I find an Akali, so now I can play the other lines. But probably right now it would be stronger to play Nico and what's her name? Nico and Yorick. But yeah, I'm trying to roll for some extra Lulus. And I'm gathering these Nikos because eventually, the best way that this comp survives is if you have like 3-star frontline as well as the Lulu 3. And it's also efficient rolling, because if I'm grabbing the Lulus and the Nikos at the same time, then I'm hitting 3-star on both of them, and it basically thins out the pool because there's reduced champ sizes, and you want to reduce as many of the 3 costs as you can. 3 costs are already reduced because, as you can see, this guy is Riven, and there's also another guy that's Yone. So a lot of them are just taking out 3 costs, so it should be easy to hit both of them. So that's why I'm holding on to the Nikos, because I'm going to eventually switch into the Nico. It's just I'm not sure when it's stronger. Anyway, we can see here. So you saw right there how the Lulu stunned the Riven. That's how it works, right? I don't even have Lulu 3, but look, I almost won this fight, right? I almost won this fight with Lulu 2, by the way. I almost won it. I didn't win it because my board's a little bit shit right now. You know, I have Ari 1, Lulu 2, but if I had Lulu 3, like if I hit on the same pace as the Riven player, I was a little bit more broke. So, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, I'm going to start switching over to Nico now. But I almost beat that guy. So I put in these guys. Now I have 4 KDA, and I might level and just play 5 KDA. That's why I'm thinking of switching, because I have the Akali now, so I'll just like throw in Akali, whatever, fuck it. You know what I mean? I ended up not making the spark because I made the gargoyle, so hopefully I can get a spark here if I get a tier item. So I have a tier, so I'm probably going to prioritize the last Ari item. So I want either another tier or a sword. Ari, I think, prefers blue buff, but they nerfed it, so I'm not sure if it's good anymore. But it's better probably to make Shojin here, because I'm more likely to hit that. Excuse me. I'm slight rolling here because I'm 2 off this Lulu, and I just really want this Lulu 3 before I level, I think. I know I was talking about, like, maybe I just level for KDA, but I think first I want to hit the Lulu. That's a free Nico 3 if I want it, but nah. There's also a point here where even though it's really late, I could level to 8 and go for like an Ari chosen, but it's just really risky. And I think that's something I was thinking of as well. Like if I just save my econ a little bit and I just send it, like because my board's gonna stay on level 8, it won't be really stable. It will be if I hit like a Nico 3, but I have like all the frontline upgrades I need. I don't know. I think that's a throw, but that's what I was also considering. I lose against the Lux because I didn't position well. The way to position around the Lux is that she shoots the laser beam, so you just put somebody really far away from your other unit so the laser beam doesn't hit. Anyways, this is Alawi. You kind of need to take Alawi here. This Yorick I don't think is that great unless I have items for it, so I'm going to swap in the Alawi. Even though I lose Guardian, so now I no longer have Guardian, this Alawi with the tentacles is really good for my team comp because now like there's a Lux player, which I can use the tentacle to bait. And there's also many melee units that I can use the tentacles to bait as well. So even though I lose Guardian, it's like who gives a fuck, right? It's like the Alawi tentacles are so good for me. I still haven't hit LULU 3, which is kind of concerning, so I'm starting to roll a little bit deeper. Usually you want to roll till around 30 because once you're at the 30 threshold, it's really easy to hit 40 and then 50. It only takes like 2 turns. But when you're sub 30, it's really hard because basically like the interest plus the whatever you win for the round, plus the like streak bonus, it's usually easier to hit like 40 once you have 30. But if you're at 20, sometimes you might take like unless you have stuff to sell on your bench, it's gonna be hard to hit the next threshold sometimes. Anyway, that's a little bit of like econ management. So now I'm just rolling super deep. Anyways, that's like I'm at the point now where it's like I might lose the game. Right, I'm 35 health, but the lobby is all very close, right? Except for this guy with 70 health. Because like it's kind of like a rock paper scissors. Everybody's kind of sending it, and I don't know. I feel like this is a very low level lobby. Like I've played in lobbies where I would be a lot harder punished for not hitting as early as So I think it just worked out that there's like some good matchups that I have. Like this one, I don't think I ever lose against this guy, right? Like, and this guy's one of the healthy players that the other people are struggling with, but I'm pretty sure I'll never lose to him. It's just because I have really good matchup here, right? Even with a Lulu 2 and not a Lulu 3, the Karthus will not do enough damage because my Ahri has healing, and I hit Ahri 2, I believe, by this point, yeah, because I was searching so deep. But look, this Olaf's going infinite, but it doesn't matter because I just stun and focus fire, and he's just dead. Right? Just good matchup for me. Good matchup spread, which is part of the reason why I wanted to try it out. This is my first game playing Lulu, and I think it's really strong. I thought it was strong before, but now that I have first-hand experience, I might go for this more as an out. Because I think if I played this game better, like I didn't play a good early game, and I'm still very strong, right? If I played my early game a little bit better. Also, this was such a blunder. I'm so stupid. I forgot that I had Morello because I wasn't paying attention, so I took the Sunfire Cake because anti-heal, because like, you know, usually want like anti-heal and shred and whatever. I could have easily taken a better item for my Nico, but now my last item on my Nico is gonna be a fucking Sunfire Cake. Anyways, I hit Lulu 3, so now I can level, but I have to roll to 0 basically, right? I'm still level 7, by the way. It's stage 5 and I'm level 7. I'm very behind tempo, but the thing is the whole lobby seems like they missed, right? The whole lobby was going reroll and they're all sending it, so it's like I'm not that far behind because even though I hit late, like most people don't have enough money to like cap out their board at level 7. You know what I mean? Most of them are broke. Also, I'm playing this guy. This was the 80 flex guy, I think. Was he? No, this was a different guy. This guy's idealism. This guy was the Jazz guy. Ah, so he did pivot eventually, right? I'm pretty sure this was the Jazz guy, and he's the most HP here, but his comp is not good. I don't know what happened. Like, he went to level 8 and he's trying to go 9 because he's super healthy. So, like, I don't know. I just kind of shit on him because I have Nico 3, Lulu 3 now, right? And having a 3-star frontliner is really big into any sort of comp that does like focus fire damage, because if my Nico lives long enough for my Ahri to heal it, then I can kind of go infinite and stall. And the longer I stall, the more my Lulu does stun. And then I kind of scale, right? Because if I basically cut off units and I snipe the back line, I can eventually like just win out, right? I'm starting to scout a little bit. I should place my tentacles here based on my matchup. I think I'm thinking about doing that, but I'm too dumb. Yeah, I just didn't. Also, I put the Seraphine up as a front to get some Randuin's value. I lucked out on my KDA hexes that I can kind of place most of my units to get Randuin's value. But yeah, I should have. You see how the Lux targets the furthest unit. So you see how my Lulu is getting targeted. This is a really. If I lose this round, it's because I didn't place my tentacles well. But I think I might win it. It depends. I think it comes down to if it fires again. Yeah, I think I lose this round for sure, right? Unless my Nico goes infinite. Yeah, so this guy would have been eliminated if I just placed my tentacles here. I'm pretty sure I win that. Because if my Lulu got like 1 or 2 more casts off, I definitely could win that, right? Funny enough, I think leaving this guy alive helps me. Because I think he killed like 1 or 2 of the people that might have outscaled me. Which is so funny that I fucked up. He lives with 1 HP, and he then kills somebody for me. I don't know, I just find that a funny concept, right? Okay, so we're on Dragon now. Also, has my commentary been useful in the slightest? I slept a lot last night, so I'm like super high functioning today, I feel. So I'm kind of just I'm trying to say, like, there's so many thoughts in my head about this game, and I'm just trying to convey them, but I don't know if I'm speaking like way too fast. Let me know if it's like annoying, and I'll try and tone it down for the next time. So usually I do this when I'm half asleep, and then I'm just like mentioning like, ooh yeah, take that item. Honestly, I should just wait here. Okay, you know what the tech is? Declaw is a pretty bad item, but it's really good if there's like units that do a lot of magic damage, right? So what you should do is you should wait. You should pop the anvil like before you go into the fight, and then when you go into the fight, you see who you're playing against and you pick the best item right then, because then it like guarantees you winning that one battle, and it's like super efficient. Anyways, this is the guy I said I never lose to. Like, look at this Olaf. He's just getting focus fired. There's no way he can sustain himself. And I just win. Like, it's not even close against that guy. The guy I should be scared about, or is... The problem is, like, my comp is, like, super good into, like, all the melee units. And now I'm level 8 with 5 KDA. Like, I'm stable now. Right? I have 3-star frontline. I have an Alawi. And I have Lulu 3 and Ari 2. Anyways, this is the guy. He went 9, I think. But this is his board. Which isn't intimidating at all, by the way, right? Like, if you look at that board, it looks like okay, right? But it doesn't look like shockingly good, right? He has an Alawi, he has a Blitzcrank with Radiant items, but it's not like a 6 Sentinel Blitzcrank, it's just like a 2 Sentinel Blitzcrank, I think, right? And then he has a Garen, a Lucian 1, and a 2-item, what's his name? A 2-item Ezreal, right? This is light work, because I just have so much DPS now. RE2 with the Nico 3, like the Nico 3 is what ties it together. That's what makes this comp really strong, is if you can hit Lulu 3 and Nico 3. And Nico 3 is sometimes really contested, because if there's like a single Jazz player or a single other KDA or super fan player, like this lobby benefited from there not being like a really strong Karthus Akali player, right? The guy who's playing Karthus is playing okay, see, now I place my tentacles well. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to place them one away from each other, because I want, like, if there's a Yone, right, which there is, I want the Yone to hit this, and then to dash to this, and then to maybe dash to this, and then my Lulu can hopefully focus fire him in the time it takes for him to get to the Lulu. Because if I place my tentacles, like, awkwardly, and then he just jumps onto the Lulu instantly before she can target him, then that's really bad. So let's see if this works out. So Yone dashes here, he kills the tentacle, he goes here, this is exactly what I predicted, and now I want my Lulu to focus fire him, which she didn't. Okay, well I fucked that up, but whatever. The Ari cleans up the shop, right? I think I still win this. Like, the pathing didn't work. I had an idea, but like I think it didn't stall long enough, right? My tentacles died too fast and my Seraphine died too fast. So that strategy that I had, like, it worked in theory, but it didn't actually work because my Lulu didn't even target the Yone. If my Lulu, basically the way it works is if my Lulu kills the unit that it's targeting, then it'll target the closest thing. Anyways, this is the high roll that makes me go first, I'm pretty sure. Like, look at that shit. What is that? A Guardian emblem that I can put on a Laui? fucking over now. Anyways, I still won because Ari's a good matchup. A lot of times what you have is you have like a really strong front line, but the guy's putting his Yone over here, right? So the reason he's putting the Yone over here is because he knows that he's trying to get a wrap basically, right? If the Yone goes here and he targets one of these units, and then he dashes here, then he can insta-target this one, and he might kill my DPS before, right? There's an easy way to path with the KDA hexes, right? Usually what you want to put is, you want, like, the thing is I have this Randuin, so it greased me, but I would put all my units, like, at least 2 hexes away from these ones. And then, like, think of, like, Sentinel R. You'd have, like, the Giga front line of Doom, and then the guy wouldn't be able to, like, penetrate the back line, basically, right? He would just get stuck on, like, a Blitzcrank with, like, 100 armor, and that's why Sentinel Ari was, like, really good into melee units, and that's why when Sentinel Ari was in the meta, like, that was the best comp last patch. There was almost none of these melee comps, or it was, like, very rare. It was, like, a sometimes food. Now, because nobody plays Sentinel Ari, it makes it that the melee comps are, like, really good again. But it also makes, like, Ari like a sleeper pick, and the reason it's like a sleeper pick is because like it loses against like Karthus and TF really hard, and that's like the whole rock paper scissors thing. But there's no real Karthus or TF player in this lobby, so I just win. Anyways, they all died. GG. Shake my hand. I just have to fight this guy, and this guy's the Yone player, and I just beat him, so I feel confident that I can beat it. I should change my strategy a little bit. I should maybe put the tentacles a little bit higher up, so the Yone has to spend more time walking, and it gives my Lulu a bit more time to do DPS. But I am 2 lives, so I'm just trying to think about it. And there we go. I move 1 tentacle up. The reason I move it up is because now in order to hit this one, he has to walk a little bit longer. See? You see how he's walking? See how he's wasting some time walking around? Yeah, so he didn't go to backline, he went back to frontline, which I think was my idea, hopefully. And then these guys got stuck on backline tentacle, which is good for me. I get the focus fire. My Lulu's still alive, so the game's fucking over. GG. That's a first out of nowhere. And I played this game so bad. You know what's so funny? Is like I was playing for like 12 hours, and at the beginning of the 12 hours, I felt like I was playing so good. And it's like at the end of the 12 hours, because I said to myself, I'm just gonna keep playing until I had D2, and it took me like 12 hours. And this was the game. I just won instant. I just won out because I don't know. It was just good matchups, and that's what's really important in this patch, by the way. You have to pick matchups. You have to pick comps that have good matchups into your lobby, right? I'll pause on the final screen. So Yone reroll, I'm good against, right? This board, I think he overcooked, right? I think he could have made a stronger board, but he shouldn't have gone 9. I think he should have like tried to stabilize a little bit. But it's a third nonetheless. I think he could have done really well, but this was like, you know, a fair game, right? This guy, I beat for sure. This guy, it's hard to say if I can beat them or not, but I have the Alawi, so I'm pretty sure I beat them just because I have the Alawi, right? But the thing with the Lux is usually really good into those Ari or Lulu lines because it just snipes the back line. But if you have Alawi, then the Lux wastes a couple casts, and then you can get to the back line in time. This guy, I don't even remember playing him. I think he just died. This guy died so early, but I had a really good matchup against this guy. And this guy was country and he just didn't hit. But, you know, it is what it is. But even this I have a pretty good matchup against, right? So the comp I went had good matchups. I wanted to play Vex Executioner. This guy, the country, is the guy that kind of griefed that idea because he just had the Vexes early. And I thought he was going to play Executioner and then he went country. But yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed the VOD. Hopefully it was like somewhat informative. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe if you like the journey content. We're gonna go back to regular videos tomorrow. It's just I have to play a couple on stream and just to get the VODs flowing again. And hopefully this review was pretty good. Anyways, bye bye.